Vice President Kamala Harris seizing the spotlight, and I'll show you how. First, this major economic address. She arrived, as you can see, in the key state of Pennsylvania today, and that is making waves. The campaign trying to seize on voters' concerns. Many voters, I'm going to show you, say the economy is still their top issue. And she is all over that, while also doing a new interview on her economic vision with MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle. We have more excerpts from this newsmaking interview, a great get by our colleague Stephanie Ruhle. And we're going to show you that in the moments ahead in this hour. And then the entire exclusive interview airs tonight, as you can see on your screen, at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's under an hour from now. So get comfortable. We've got you covered. Meanwhile, it is a campaign, a clash of visions and candidates. Donald Trump, for his part, campaigning in North Carolina. He also gave an economic address this week. So you can see just how important both campaigns think the issue is. But as for what they would do about the issue, about taxes, about jobs, about these price fluctuations that we've had, well, they have very different ideas. Harris specifically contrasting her plans and her vision to Donald Trump's skyscraper elitism.
You see, for Donald Trump, our economy works best if it works for those who own the big skyscrapers, not those who actually build them, not those who wire them, not those who mop the floors. He's only interested in making life better for himself, slashing overtime pay, throwing tens of millions of Americans off of health care, and cutting Social Security and Medicare. Donald Trump intends to take America backward.
Harris mixing new economic points with some of those key kind of rhetorical, architectural points that she's made a centerpiece of her whole campaign, including forward versus backward. Now, she gave this speech on her 8th visit to the key state of Pennsylvania, seeking to contrast, again, these two agendas. She also talked about her new plans to boost industries from AI to clean energy to aerospace.
The most practical thing we can do right now is to cut taxes for middle-class families. We'll also cut the cost of childcare and elder care, give all working people access to paid leave. Middle-class tax cuts are just the start of take on, in addition, corporate landlords who are hiking rental prices. First ever federal ban on corporate price gouging. We will invest in biomanufacturing and aerospace, remain dominant in AI and quantum computing, blockchain and other emerging technologies. We will invest in the industries that, for example, made Pittsburgh the Steel City. We will prioritize investments for strengthening factory towns. This is so important. And we will reform our tax laws to make it easier for businesses to let workers share in their company's success.
That's just some of the excerpts. You can see Harris just going point by point as she addressed the Economic Club there in Pittsburgh. And this is one plank of the campaign strategy. The other, as mentioned, involves our colleagues here at MSNBC, because MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle landed the big interview. Harris has been doing a few more interviews as of late. You've probably heard discussions about this. Well, she is sitting here with Stephanie Ruhle. The whole thing, as I mentioned, is coming up in the 7 p.m. Eastern hour. But right now, we're going to show you some of what she says in this exclusive interview.
Over the last 4 years, there have been tremendous economic wins, and you've just laid out a big plan. But still, polling shows that most likely voters still think Donald Trump is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression when you look at, for example, the employment numbers.
It was during COVID, and employment was so high because we shut down the government, we shut down the country.
Even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs by most people's estimates, at least 200,000. He lost manufacturing plants. Ask the auto workers how he lost auto plants. We have grown over 20 new auto plants. He has an agenda. Let's just deal with it right now going forward, not to mention what happened in the past. He has an agenda that would include making it more difficult for workers to earn overtime. an agenda that would include cutting off access to small business loans for small businesses, an agenda that includes tariffs to the point that the average working person will spend 20% more on everyday necessities and an estimated $4,000 more a year on those everyday necessities, to the point that top economists in our country, from Nobel laureates to people at Moody's and Goldman Sachs, have compared my plan with his and said my plan would grow the economy, his would shrink the economy. Some of them have actually assessed that his plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So the facts remain that Donald Trump has a history of taking care of very rich people. And I'm not mad at anybody for being rich, but they should pay their fair share. But tax cuts for the billionaires and the top corporations in our country, and then not really paying much attention to middle-class families. My perspective on the economy is when you grow the middle class, America's economy is stronger. And there's empirical evidence to prove my point correct.
That's what it looks like when Kamala Harris lays out her vision. And we showed you the speech where obviously she's prepared with her policymakers and experts what they want to do. That's the policy. And there you see more of the pitch. She has the evidence, she has data points, she has expertise, and she has a message that we heard in the speech as well, mixing pro-capitalist appeals. She says in the speech as well, she's a capitalist, while also talking about FDR and taxes and a fair share. Then, in the same interview, we're going to show you now, she discussed an issue that affects families across the country.
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share. I am not mad at anyone for achieving success, but everyone should pay their fair share, and it is not right that the teachers and the firefighters that I meet every day across our country are paying a higher tax than the richest people in our country.
Bill Gates just said it this week. If he was in charge of taxes, he would have paid more. But how do you find that line to make sure corporations are paying their fair share, but they're not leaving our country?
Well, listen, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have spent a lot of time with CEOs, and I'm going to tell you that the business leaders who are actually part of the engine of America's economy agree that people should pay their fair share. They also agree that when we look at a plan such as mine that is about investing in the middle class, investing in new industries, investing in bringing down costs, invest in entrepreneurs like small businesses, that the overall economy is stronger and everyone benefits.
That is the Harris message, again, in the new interview building on the speech. And it's interesting, if you follow the news, and if my voice is reaching you, I take it you do, we have had a lot of big issues over the last several years. We have political upheaval. We have the MAGA era. We have the culture wars. We have technology. We have a lot of discussion about women's rights and Donald Trump's abortion ban crackdowns, which we've covered a lot and continue to be big. So there's more than one issue to choose from. But if you ask Americans across the board about their top issues, a larger share right now say the economy than any other issue. The campaigns know that, and you could see Vice President Harris and her team clearly know that. We could show you the polling. It's ahead of some of those other important things I mentioned: threats to democracy, immigration, abortion, economy/inflation, meaning the rising prices, and why so many people feel even as the raw metrics have improved, they still have either problems making their weekly budget or very understandable jitters and fears from COVID and lockdowns to rebounds to inflation. It has not been easy out there. Now, there may be all kinds of reasons that you see this gap closing. This is good news for Harris. Trump was doing better before, but now voters are about even there, within the margin of error, tied on who they trust more on the economy.